joining us, this is Voice of Wisdom, and I'm your friend Alan Numfor. As we said, we have been looking at capacity building, and I believe that it's been blessing you who is watching us in your houses. And of course, before we move to the next phase, I'd like you to understand that we are going to be taking your feedbacks. You have questions, you can text us on the numbers right now scrolling on your screens. The numbers are right there. And if you like probably to get an advice at the level of probably something you're doing, or you like to get other feedbacks from us, or maybe also you like us to say a word of prayer with you, you can go ahead and text the number which is on your screens right now. God bless you. As we have been saying, we are looking at capacity building. And I'm sure that to some of you, this word is the first time you're hearing it. Don't bother. You're going to be getting a lot more from this. As I said, in our area, we have very little that is done in the area of capacity, and yet the market does not buy your intellectuality. The market buys your capacity. The market does not buy your beauty. The market buys your capacity. This world does not celebrate your looks, it celebrates your capacity. That's why if you are short with capacity, you get the job. If you're tall, skimpy, beautiful with no capacity, you are sacked. So you see, it's not really about how you look, it's about what you can deliver. And capacity has to answer with your inherent, we said capacity has to do with what your capability, what you're capable of doing. That's why it's called capacity. It has to do with your ability. It has to do with your potent skills. That is your area of effectiveness and your area of excellence. It has to do with what you are good at. It has to do with your areas of giftedness. You know, in Africa, we have a lot of gifted people, but they have not developed capacity. So a lot of people earn at the local milieu. You know, we just want to earn local. And when you earn local, you become a local champion. It's true you're good at what you're doing, but you have to develop capacity in it. You have to develop some excellence in it. So right now we are looking at the importance of building capacity, or importance of capacity. I'm going to give you 5 for today. Number 1 is that capacity enhances productivity. Capacity enhances productivity. You are going to be very productive in the area where you have developed capacity. Your productivity is limited to your capacity. In other words, how much can you be able to bring on the table? If you know, there was an age called the Industrial Revolution age. This was the age where things done by human or by hands started being done by machines. What increased? Productivity, because what capacity had increased. Naturally, for example, to produce maybe a cloth, for example, a woman needed to go and remove wool from the skin of a sheep, and then go and start trying to blend it and try using some kind of traditional methods to be able to bring it together before you could produce a cloth with it. And it may take you maybe a month to produce one. But right now we have machines that have been given the capacity to do, and they have been enhanced, and those machines can produce 1,000 of those cloths a day. So the capacity has been enhanced, so productivity has been speeded. So this is the key. If you want to increase your productivity in whatever you are doing, increase your capacity. Increase your capacity. For example, I was listening to one of my mentors one time, and he was telling how he had to literally travel out of the country to increase his reading capacity. You know, you can increase even your capacity in reading. So he could now read more than 2 books a day. But at first, he could read 2 books a week. He had to travel abroad and do what we call speed reading or speed learning, which cost a lot of money. And we are going to be coming there probably in the next series, the challenges of capacity building, because a lot of people know the necessity of capacity, but they are afraid of it, because building capacity will cost you financially, it will cost you time and a lot otherwise. So he had to travel abroad and literally spent a lot of $1,000 to build the capacity to read. So you can give him a 200-page book right now, and he flops through it, and in the next 1 hour he has summarized the book to you. But I can guarantee you that some of you are there listening to me, and there are books you have bought, and for the past 2 years you have not been able to finish it. You have just read introduction, conclusion, African mentality. Now you can tell us the whole story. So you see, building capacity requires time, it requires diligence, patience, and money. So you can explain why the woman out there, you know how to cook so well, but you have decided to stay limited in being mommy put. You just have to sell your small arrow and keep selling for 500 in one plate, and the place is nasty, it's dirty. You keep complaining that you don't see your gain. That's why you can see somebody have literally been selling food for the past 10 years, nothing to show for. And another person develops capacity in not just cookery, but also goes to a cooking school, learn presentation, learn administration, financial accountability, employs an accountant service, and then boom, opens a big restaurant and can be able to buy a car within 1 year. Capacity. But you can choose to remain at that level for the next 10 years and you have the ability to cook, you have the skills, but you refuse to develop capacity. So in Africa, we have a lot of people that are gifted, but very few people that have developed capacity in the areas of their giftedness. To be sincere, for example, the University of Boya, for example, which is one of the universities we have in Cameroon, it graduates over 12, I don't know, maybe 5,000 and above students every year. And most of these students, 80% of them become job seekers. And most of them become, they literally have no jobs. And the problem it's not that they are not intelligent, it's not that they don't have the certificates, but it's that the companies are not looking for certificates to employ, they are looking for capacity to employ. So you leave from school with intellectual knowledge, but you do not have and what is capacity? Skillfulness of the hands. It is not just the mental knowledge, it is about what you can do. So you have a cripple can get a job because they have the capacity, but somebody with 2 legs doesn't have a job because they do not have the capacity. So I want to encourage you, go for the capacity, because capacity will increase productivity. Capacity will enhance your productivity. Capacity will increase your durability. Number 2, capacity breeds access to higher grounds. Capacity will give you access to higher ground. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs chapter 22 verse 29, a man's gift will make a way for him and will bring him before great men and not before mean men. When you develop capacity, capacity will open doors of access to higher places for you. For example, you are a preacher. My brother, stop preaching to a small locality. You can be preaching in your church, but develop the capacity to be able to stand on an international platform. So when you develop capacity will give you access to those bigger platforms, and then you become an influence to a greater, wider spread of people. Before you know it, they will call you from Cameroon and give you the opportunity to come and speak in England, the opportunity to come and speak in India, the opportunity to come and speak in Canada, the opportunity to come and speak in Uganda. Why? Because your capacity have given you what? Access to higher grounds. For example, let's take for example a football star in Cameroon. Let's take for example Eno Eyong. Eno Eyong began as a local football player. And I want to believe that at primary school he was playing football. At secondary school he was probably in a football team. Maybe in the university he joined the football club. And the difference between him and the others is that while others were just playing, he was developing capacity. Soon enough, one of the clubs in Cameroon bought him. While he was there, he kept on developing capacity, and very soon the Indomitable Lions bought him. While he was there, developed capacity, and very soon an international playing group bought him. Are you seeing the trends? As you keep developing capacity, you keep accessing higher grounds. You keep accessing higher. When you realize that you have been in a particular place for a very long time, don't complain. For example, at your job site now, if you have not received promotion for the past 5 years, don't complain. Develop capacity. If you develop capacity this year, I can guarantee you, next year will not pass. You are going to have a higher ground. Promotion does not come by durability. It comes by productivity. And productivity is not a product of how long you have stayed. It's a product of how much you can bring. Capacity. When you develop capacity, you literally increase productivity. And when you increase productivity, you change levels. So don't get angry with your friend that just joined your company last year, and this year they have made him branch manager, and yet you are still a secretary. Question is, have you developed the capacity to become a branch manager? If they give you, in that bank that you're working, if they give you an account statement, can you be able to audit it? Can you be able to give a credible account statement? You say you're a banker, you don't even know how to make an account statement. Which kind of banking are you? Are you doing banking for witches or wizards, or you're doing banking for people's money? You see, you have to develop capacity. You have to develop capacity. You have preachers that have not developed capacity in even how to talk. You talk and insult people because you are holding in a microphone. Can you stand up and give your offering now? Give your offering before God punish you. Nobody's going to invite you to preach in a church in America where people don't even want to go to church. You don't know how to probably blend words together. You know only pidgin English. You don't know English. You have not trained yourself how to speak English well. You have not developed your grammatic prowess. Even in casting demons, you say came out instead of come out. So you're going to remain local. You may be seeing results, but your result will keep you at a local level. As you develop capacity, even at your presentation skills, your ability to manage the stage. There are people, if you give them your mic, and for example, like pastors, you give them the platform, they don't know how to manage the stage. They will jump from here, jump into the drums, boss it, jump this way, and then the question is, if a camera wants to videotape your service, you are moving up and down, up and down, up and down, the images become very distorted. Even the excellence, for example, you look at in Cameroon, you look at most of our video, audiovisual institutions, a lot of purity, you see poor presentations. When you literally look at, for example, how you're watching our program right now, in fact, you're captured by the excellence. You're looking at a beautiful image, except your TV has a problem because the images are beautiful. You're looking at a beautiful image. You're looking at a beautiful man talking to you in a beautiful language, in a beautiful way. You put other stations, if Alain does not get there because you won't want to be biastic. But I'm trying to say that you have to create excellence. You have to create capacity. Somebody say capacity. It's capacity. When you develop capacity, it simply takes you to higher grounds. Higher grounds. Last year, I was in Kenya for a leadership conference. And while I went there, we were over 3 of us that were invited international guests. By the time we finished our different presentations and our ministrations, guess what? At the end of it, I had over 10 other invitations back to that country. And at the end of it, the others, I think 1 or 2 other people did not have even 1 more invitation. Why? Capacity. You have developed capacity over time. I remember as a young preacher, I didn't know how to preach. I didn't know how to preach. I didn't know how to preach in public. I didn't know how to talk to people. In fact, when I'm talking to people, I'll be looking up. And I didn't know how to present myself. Some people don't even know how to write a teaching and put it chronologically, point by point. You just preach up and down. You start preaching on tithe, very soon you have jumped to offering, very soon you have come back to first fruit, very soon you have gone to midwife, very soon you have... Capacity will help you to be able to, okay, if you're teaching on wisdom, you stay on wisdom. If you're teaching on self-discovery, you stay on self-discovery. You're teaching on purpose, you're able to balance and make your message very, very intrinsic so that at the end of it, somebody leaves that service with full knowledge. Like in our church, we are doing 2 services on Sunday. And one service takes about 2 hours. And in 2 hours, the service is finished. 7 to 9, service is finished. 9 to 11, service is finished. And somebody came one time and attended and was coming for service, and service was already closing. Festival was already going. And mine was like, I can't believe service is done. I said, we are done. And we are going back to the next service. And after the service, he came to the office. He was like, the service was so brief, but yet very impactful. And it was like, if it was where I came from, right now by 11 o'clock, praise and worship is still going on. And it would take us maybe 4 to 8 hours to close a service. I said, what is wrong? It's just capacity. You have to develop the capacity. Somebody was asking me, how can you preach for 45 minutes and it was powerful? I said, capacity. Capacity. I'm not using 1 hour to just be shouting. I'm using every hour to be able to bring presentation. Skills on presentation. So capacity will give you access to higher grounds. So I'm speaking maybe to somebody, if you're being jealous of your co-worker that got the promotion, please don't be jealous. Just develop capacity and you realize that the capacity will give you promotion. The capacity will take you to another higher height. If you are working in a company right now, go and learn computer studies. Right now we're growing into a computer age where very soon everything will be computerized. So don't say that you were not trained on how to use computer in school. For example, you might have studied sociology, anthropology, psychology, education in school. None of those subjects was in ICT or internet communication technology. But you realize that by the time you become a teacher, you are going to, very soon we are going to grow to a point where you are not just doing written report again. You're going to be able to type it. How fast can you type? What are your typing potentials? Can you type fast? Now that you can write maybe 500 words a minute, can you increase it to maybe 1,000? Can you improve your typing skills? Some people, when they are typing, they are only looking at the keyboard A, C, D. Can you improve it to a point where you can be talking to somebody and you're typing and there are no errors? So if you tell me, well, I'm good at it at this level, there is another level. If you can operate it, can you now get to a point where, for example, if you're working in a movie theater, can you grow to a point where if the cameras are bad, you can fix them rather than them having to take it to another technician? So you realize that, and the more you increase your capacity, the more you increase your value. Now let me tell you this very quickly. Listen to me, please. A man with capacity cannot be sacked. I'm telling you. When you develop capacity, you become unsackable. You become literally unavoidable. You see, people say that, oh, my company, when you see somebody is afraid, they say, in this company they're about to remove some people, I'm afraid I may be among it, because you have not developed capacity. When you develop capacity, you know that if they sack everybody, you are the only one they can sack. I'm telling you. If in that banking company, all you know is to get there in the morning and begin to show people how to feed their form and withdraw their own money, you don't have an account. You don't know how to replace the manager if he's not. If the assistant manager is sick, you cannot play his role. You don't know how to do anything. You don't know any system. If you can develop capacity in such a way that even as a gate man, you become unavoidably present. For example, develop capacity to cook, so that when the cook is not, you can go to the kitchen and cook. Develop capacity to fix the car, so that when Oga's car is bad, they don't need to get a mechanic. You can get there and fix it. By the time you are not just opening the gate, you can cook, you can take care of the dog, you can fix Oga's car. You realize that that man will hardly be able to get rid of you, because you are not, apart from that, you are the gardener. You are able to clear the grasses, you are able to put them in shape, you are able to put things in order. You have literally developed capacity in that area, and you become unavoidably needed. Hallelujah. What is the benefit of capacity? Number 3. Capacity opens the door for opportunity. Capacity will open the door for opportunity. For example, when you develop capacity, you have literally created opportunity for your success. A man who can sing, for example, is already opening a door of opportunity. If tomorrow somebody wants to sign a record deal with you, you're ready. You've developed the capacity. A wise man once said, success is when opportunity meets with what? Preparation. So what is capacity? Capacity prepares you for opportunity. Failures wait for opportunities. Successful people prepare for opportunities. So a success, I tell, like for example, I tell some of my sons and our pastors and leaders all the time, never get prepared. Always live prepared. Never get prepared. I can call you right now and say, please represent. If I can say, represent me in this conference in Yaoundé. Don't tell me, sir, I am not prepared. You have lost the opportunity to ever get access to that privilege. So I live my life every time. I live my life every time saying, right now, if the Minister of Youth Affairs in this country calls me and said, Alain Numfor, please, can you come up and give us some ideas on how we can change the face of this country? I should be able to say, yes, sir, on my way. I wouldn't say, can you give me 2 months? No, you have to live prepared. Always be ready for an opportunity. Let me ask you a question. If your boss tomorrow morning called you and gave you something he has never given you to do, would you be able to do it? Have you been living prepared for that opportunity? Be ready, be prepared in such a way that when somebody offers you an opportunity, they will not be able to take it back from you. Oh God, help me. I really wish I can put this in your mind. You know, I just lived prepared. If you ask me, how did you get where you are today? I just lived prepared. When the opportunity showed up, I was fully prepared. And by the time I finished giving my delivery, the people couldn't get rid of me anymore. I remember one time they were doing a leadership conference in Yaoundé for the leaders. They were training some young leaders in this country. And I literally been preparing myself in the area of leadership as a whole. And then I got the call. And it was 2 days to the conference. And they told me, well, sir, we just got your name right now. There is the ambassador of I think the France ambassador, the American ambassador, and the policy maker of France were some of the facilitators in that conference. And we needed at least one young Cameroonian youth actor to be there. And your name just got to us now. But the unfortunate thing is that the conference starts in 2 days. Will you be able to make it to Yaoundé? I said, on my way. I've lived for this. I'm ready for this. And I drove to I flew to Yaoundé, and I got to Yaoundé. And I gave my as I reached there, I was moving straight to the presentation hall because I arrived late, and I gave my presentation for 1 hour, and I got a standing ovation. And immediately after that conference, they came to me and said, "Sir, you are going to be the next guest for the next edition." And that is how I got hooked up. Every time that leadership conference comes up, I'm called. I was never in their list of the guests they wanted to invite. I just came up as a pop-up opportunity. Listen, your success will show up as an arm robber. In fact, that's even how Jesus will come. The Bible says that he will come like an arm robber. That's why you live prepared for heaven. You live prepared for success. Let me ask you as a young lady, if a man just walked up to you tonight, "I want to marry you," are you prepared for marriage? Do you know how to cook a kwank? Do you know how to cook pounded yam? You don't know how to cook nothing. Pap, you can't cook. You only know how to boil water and bathe and sleep and paint your face, go out. And yet you are saying, "Oh Lord, send my husband." You don't pray for a man, you prepare for a husband. You don't pray for a wife, you prepare for a wife. So the encouragement I'm giving you today, it's live prepared. Capacity will give you opportunity. Don't say, I don't know why I'm not married. Live prepared for marriage. Don't say, "I don't know why I don't get a job." Live prepared for a job. It can meet you at any time. Let's stop just shouting amen in church. I'm a pastor. Let's just stop being religious. We pray for our people to be blessed, but the truth is, have they developed the capacity to be blessed? If the government called you today, "I want to give you a job," have you developed the capacity to handle it? If an opening came for you today, have you developed? If somebody gave you £1 million now, can you start a business tomorrow that will succeed? Have you developed business capacity? Do you know the requirements to be able to run a successful business? Do you have the capacity to build a successful future? That is my question for you. I'll be right back after this break. I want to pray with your questions, and you have your questions, or you have anything you want us to answer for you, or you like to send us your compliments, send them to the number on your screen. I'm going to be right back. We have a lot to share on capacity, and if time does not meet us today, we'll continue in our next series.